Have you ever wondered why evil seems to persist in the world, even when it's confronted by something as powerful as divine intervention? It's a question many of us wrestle with, especially when we witness moments of chaos that seem to defy reason. But what if I told you that one of the most striking examples of this struggle took place not in a war zone or a moment of personal crisis, but in a quiet field where pigs roamed freely? In the biblical story found in Matthew, chapter 8, Jesus encounters two demon-possessed men living among the tombs. These men were so dangerous that no one dared pass by them. Their presence was a stark reminder of the darkness that can overwhelm a person's life when evil takes control. But the most curious part of this story is not the presence of the demons, but what happens next. As soon as the demons saw Jesus, they recognized his authority. They knew they couldn't resist him, so they begged for something unusual. They asked to be sent into a herd of pigs. Now, this raises a fascinating question. Why would demons, spiritual beings, request to enter into animals? What was their plan? And why did Jesus agree? This isn't just a historical or theological puzzle. There's a deeper message here that speaks to the human condition and our own struggles with sin, temptation, and the presence of evil in our lives. Like the demons in the story, the forces that tempt and torment us often look for ways to manifest themselves in our daily existence. They might not ask to enter pigs, but they find their way into our hearts, minds, and actions, often through small compromises or moments of weakness. This begs the question, are there areas in your life where you've allowed something destructive to take root? Have you ever experienced moments where it felt like something beyond your control was influencing your actions or decisions? The story of Jesus casting out demons into a herd of pigs isn't just a fascinating piece of biblical history. It's a mirror that reflects our own spiritual battles. Jesus' authority over these demons shows us that no matter how deeply entrenched evil seems to be, it is not beyond his control. But what does this mean for us today? How can we learn to confront the forces, both internal and external, that seek to lead us astray? As we dive deeper into this story, we'll explore the meaning behind the demon's strange request and what it reveals about Jesus' mission, not just to free these men, but to confront and overcome the deeper spiritual battles we all face. Stay with me as we unravel the mystery of why the demons asked to enter the pigs and what that moment can teach us about dealing with the darkness in our own lives. After calming the storm on the Sea of Galilee, Jesus and his disciples arrived at the region of the Gerasenes, a primarily Gentile area on the eastern shore. The moment Jesus stepped ashore, two men possessed by demons emerged from the tombs, rushing toward him. These men lived among the dead, in isolation, cut off from society. People feared them, and no one dared to pass that way due to their violent and uncontrollable nature. According to Matthew 8, these men immediately recognized Jesus and shouted, "What do you want with us, Son of God? Have you come to torment us before the appointed time?" The demons inside these men knew who Jesus was, acknowledging his divine authority. Despite their rebellion against God, they understood that their power was limited in his presence and that their ultimate fate was destruction. Nearby, a large herd of pigs was grazing on a hillside. The demons, fully aware that Jesus could cast them out, pleaded with him to allow them to enter the pigs instead of sending them into the abyss or some place of torment. They desperately wanted to avoid being left without a host. Jesus granted their request with a simple word, "Go." The demons left the men, entered the pigs, and immediately the entire herd, about 2,000 in total, rushed down a steep bank into the sea and drowned. The herdsmen, witnessing this shocking event, ran back to the town to tell everyone what had happened. When the townspeople arrived and saw the formerly possessed men now calm and in their right minds, they were filled with fear. Rather than rejoicing over the miraculous healing, they begged Jesus to leave their region, likely due to the economic loss of their pigs. As Jesus prepared to leave, one of the men who had been freed from the demons asked to go with him. But Jesus, instead of taking him along, instructed him to return home and tell his people about the mercy he had received. This man became one of the first missionaries to the Gentiles, spreading the good news of what Jesus had done for him in the Decapolis region. Interpretation and analysis. The story of the demons asking to enter the pigs is one of the most intriguing in the Gospels, not just because of the supernatural elements, but also because of the spiritual insights it offers. To fully understand the significance of this event, we need to break it down and explore several key aspects. First, the recognition of Jesus by the demons is significant. These spiritual beings knew exactly who Jesus was, the Son of God. While the people around him were still struggling to fully grasp his identity, the demons had no doubt. This demonstrates the contrast between spiritual and human understanding. Despite their clear knowledge of Jesus' divine nature, the demons still opposed him, showing that knowing who Jesus is does not automatically lead to obedience or love. This highlights the danger of having knowledge without surrender, something we should all reflect on. Second, the demons' request to enter the pigs is puzzling at first glance. Why would they choose to inhabit animals? The answer lies in their nature. Demons crave to inhabit something, to have a physical host through which they can act and cause harm. By asking to enter the pigs, the demons sought to avoid being left without a place to manifest their destructive power. Pigs, being considered unclean animals according to Jewish law, were a fitting choice for these impure spirits. Their request also shows that demons are destructive by nature. Even though they avoided immediate torment, they still caused the destruction of the pigs, which led to further chaos and fear among the people. Third, Jesus' decision to allow the demons to enter the pigs might seem perplexing. However, this decision reveals several important truths. For one, it shows Jesus' authority over evil forces. He doesn't negotiate with the demons. He simply commands them with one word: go. His authority is absolute. Additionally, by allowing the demons to destroy the pigs, Jesus exposed the true priorities of the people in that region. Rather than celebrating the liberation of two human beings from demonic possession, the townspeople were more concerned about the loss of their livestock. This reveals a deeper issue. They valued their economic well-being over spiritual freedom. It's a powerful reminder of how easily material concerns can blind us to the greater work God is doing. Finally, the reaction of the people speaks volumes about human nature. Instead of welcoming Jesus and recognizing the miracle, they asked him to leave. Their fear of losing more wealth overshadowed the joy they could have had in witnessing God's power at work. This response reflects a common theme throughout Scripture. People often resist God's work when it threatens their comfort or lifestyle. It's a sobering reminder that sometimes we, too, may prioritize our own interests over the transformative power of Christ. The conclusion of the story, where Jesus tells the healed man to return home and share what God has done, points to the expansion of Jesus' ministry beyond the Jewish people. This man, once isolated by his affliction, became a witness to God's mercy in a predominantly Gentile region. His testimony was a foretaste of the gospel spreading to the ends of the earth, showing that God's love and grace are not bound by ethnic or religious lines. In summary, the story of the demons, the pigs, and Jesus' authority over them offers deep spiritual insights into the nature of evil, the power of Jesus, and the human tendency to prioritize the material over the spiritual. It invites us to reflect on our own lives. Are we, like the townspeople, too focused on our worldly comforts? Or are we willing to embrace the freedom and transformation that Jesus offers, even if it costs us something? The story of Jesus casting out the demons and sending them into the pigs holds valuable lessons that are directly relevant to our lives today. At its core, this story is about the power of Jesus to bring freedom and the choices we make in response to his work. First, consider the power of spiritual freedom. The two men in this story were completely controlled by the forces of evil, living in isolation, cut off from society, and in a state of constant torment. But with just one word from Jesus, they were set free. This is a powerful reminder that no matter how deep someone is trapped in darkness, Jesus has the authority to bring complete freedom. We might not face physical possession by demons, But many people today are trapped in cycles of addiction, negative patterns of thought, fear, or destructive behavior. Jesus has the power to break every chain and set us free. But this freedom requires a response. We must be willing to come to Him and allow Him to do the work in our lives. Second, reflect on the value we place on material possessions versus spiritual well-being. The reaction of the townspeople to Jesus' miracle was to ask Him to leave. They were more concerned about the loss of their pigs than the miraculous liberation of two human beings. This shows how easy it is to prioritize material wealth or comfort over the deeper spiritual transformation Jesus offers. In our modern world, it's easy to get caught up in pursuing success, money, or comfort at the expense of our relationship with God. This story challenges us to evaluate what we value most. Are we like the people of Gerasa, willing to trade the presence of Jesus for temporary gain? Or are we willing to sacrifice worldly success in order to experience the true freedom and peace that only Jesus can give? Third, consider the role of testimony in sharing the good news. After being freed, one of the formerly possessed men wanted to follow Jesus, but Jesus told him to stay and share his story with his community. This highlights the power of personal testimony in spreading the message of Christ. Each of us has a story of how Jesus has worked in our lives, and sharing that story can be a powerful way to bring others to Him. The man in this story became a living witness of God's mercy, and we are called to do the same. By sharing how Jesus has brought freedom, healing, or hope into our lives, we can help others experience that same transformation. Conclusion and engagement. The story of the demons and the pigs is more than just a fascinating historical event. It's a reminder of the choices we face every day. Jesus offers freedom, but we must be willing to receive it and value it above all else. This story also calls us to share the good news of what Jesus has done in our lives, so others can experience His power and love. So now, I invite you to reflect on your own life. What areas do you need Jesus to bring freedom to? Is there something you're holding on to, whether it's material comfort, fear, or something else, that is preventing you from fully embracing the freedom He offers? Take a moment to think about it, and if you're comfortable, share in the comments below. We're all on this journey together, and your story might encourage someone else. And as always, if you found this video helpful or insightful, please consider subscribing to the channel and sharing this message with someone who might need it. We have many more videos exploring powerful stories from the Bible and uncovering their deep truths for our lives today. Let's continue to learn and grow together in faith. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you abundantly.